And we good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Jennifer's Perspective. This evening, my guest is Miss Daisy Molina. She is a licensed RN, and she is also the campus director of the Teterboro Campus. And Miss Molina holds a master's degree of Science in Nursing Education from the College of St. Elizabeth. She is currently enrolled in a doctoral program where she is seeking to obtain her Ed.D in educational leadership. And Miss Molina has been with the Jersey College since 2008 and has served as a faculty member and the associate dean. Before joining Jersey College, Miss Molina worked as the director of a practical nursing program at a community college and as a nurse manager at a local community hospital. She has been a nurse for over 32 years, and she holds 3 national certifications in her field of expertise. Welcome, Daisy, everyone. Let's welcome Miss Daisy Molina.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Daisy, can you just share with us your experience as a Black woman in your profession, an immigrant, and as a leader in your profession as well? Can you just share your journey with us of to your journey to the United States and your advancement in education?
Absolutely. So I was born in Havana, Cuba. My entire family's from there, and we came to the United States in 1970. My parents were both in education. My mother was a school teacher, and my father used to teach at a local university. He was a math teacher and was also in the military. So the education was already embedded, genetically speaking. So although my mother wanted to go on to become a dentist, that opportunity never came up for her because we had the opportunity to go to the United States. So at that point, it's like a lottery. They pick your name. You have to drop everything and actually take the opportunity to travel. So we arrived here in 1970, and my parents did all sorts of odd jobs. My mother worked in a slaughterhouse. My dad worked in a kitchen. They worked super long hours. They worked really hard, and they had 3 children. I'm the youngest of 3. I remember going to school and not understanding the teacher because I wasn't fluent in English at all, although my parents were pretty fluent in English because they learned how to speak English in school in Cuba, but they only spoke Spanish to us in the household. And they said, you're going to spend enough hours in school in order to pick up the language. We don't want you to lose your native tongue. And it was very frustrating. It was difficult. I would come home from school. I would sit on my mother's lap and cry and say, why are you doing this? I don't know what the teacher is saying. Back then, they didn't have any ESL. They just clustered a bunch of students in a classroom, and you had to figure it out. You just had to figure it out. And by the time I was well into the 2nd grade, all of a sudden the light bulb went off, and I understood what the teacher was actually saying, and I was able to articulate those words back. So, things just started to become easier. And I became a very avid reader, an avid speller. I think, I just wanted to overachieve to compensate for that small amount of time that I was lagging behind because of the language deficit. So throughout my years, nursing was something that I never even thought about. I am a classical pianist as well. My sister took piano lessons, and I wanted to study music. I wanted to be just like one of the characters in the movie Fame. I wanted to live in the West Village. I wanted to sit in Washington Square Park with a long skirt and bongos in between my legs and just Juilliard. I mean, that was my dream. And I said to my mom, I said, Mom, this is what I want to do, live in the West Village. I want to go to Juilliard. And she said, well, how are you going to sustain yourself? And I thought, oh, here's like the Grim Reaper killing my dream. And she said, listen, she goes, I know you never considered nursing, but your sister has always wanted to be a nurse. And it seems to be a profession that will give you some sort of stability and independence. She says, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just asking that you consider it. So I did. So at the age of 14, I was a freshman in high school. I went on to volunteer at a community hospital, and we wore those little candy striper uniforms then. And I attended with 2 other girlfriends from high school, and I actually volunteered there for 4 years. At the end of my 4th year, they gave me a scholarship to attend a nursing program. So I knew certainly within the first couple of months of volunteering that nursing was where I wanted to be. It was like, holy cow, I love this profession. I have to be a nurse. So when I attended nursing school, it was a 3-year diploma program. I was working as a registered nurse at the age of 19 on a critical care unit. So you're really young to have a whole lot of responsibility, but you know, that's the nature of the beast, and that's the field, and that's the career of nursing. Once I was well embedded in that hospital working on, you know, different units, there was chit chat about, are you going back to school? And I was like, what for? I just got out of school. I have a great career. I make good money. I was driving a brand new car, living the high life, you know, 19, 20, 21. And people were talking about going back to school. And I thought, are they kidding me? And then all of a sudden, you know, my nurse manager at the time said, you know, you've been working in this particular field for some time. She said, maybe you should become certified. And I said to her, well, you know why more nurses aren't certified? Because the exam costs $300 and the majority of them don't pass. I said, that's why you don't have a higher number of certified nurses. So she starts laughing and she said, you know what? You should just do it. And I did. And I was successful on the first attempt of the exam. And that catapulted me to want to study even more. The next morning, I went to work. I was assigned to the newborn nursery, and there was a flyer up from the College of St. Elizabeth that said, Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, program offered in the hospital, no money down. And I felt that that flyer was meant for me. It was speaking to me. So I enrolled, and it took me 4 very long years to obtain a bachelor's in science. And from there, I moved on to obtain my master's with the College of St. Elizabeth as well. I accepted a job back in 2010 at the community college. And the reason why I left the hospital is because I felt that my growth had been stunted. It had come to a standstill. I was in a nurse management position. There was no other place to go. I didn't have a lot of support from the chief nursing officer at that time. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to make a difference if I don't have that support from above. Maybe it's time to move on. And you know, what happens with nurses is that we become very complacent in our fields, and you'll hear nurses, oh, I've been here 30 years. I've been here 40 years. Nobody ever wants to move. Nobody ever wants to become uncomfortable and try something that maybe they've never done before, but it might be the right fit. So I started to actively look for other positions, and I had it made in that hospital. I worked 4:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. I knew everybody. You know, my parents had worked there. My sister had worked there. Every department was extremely cooperative with me. So I got things done very easily because of the relationships that I had established throughout the years. So why should I shake things up and go someplace else and try to do something that I've had no experience with and I've never done before, but I did it. I left that institution after calling that institution my home, after calling that institution the place that groomed me and that made me the nurse that I am today. I left the institution for lack of opportunity and lack of growth. So I joined the community college, and interestingly enough, the people that recruited me and that hired me were my instructors from nursing school. It's like life is so small, right? How ironic. And I said to them, you do know I have no experience as a director of a nursing program. And they said, we know, but we also remember the type of student that you were. So I accepted the position. I learned there was a lot of bumps and bruises along the way because I had to figure things out. I had to, just be very resourceful and savvy. I was responsible for an entire nursing program, the curriculum, teaching the classes, taking the students to clinical, and for the entire administrative piece of the program, also reporting to the Board of Nursing. So it was a tough job, but I learned a lot. At the end of my 2 years, I decided to look elsewhere only because something was going to give, be it the administrative end of that program or the student end, because it was too much for one person to entail. So I looked and I found Jersey College. Now, Jersey College, interestingly enough, we were known as the Center for Allied Nursing in New Jersey. And we were basically a basement operation where we offered programs in allied health, and we also had a practical nursing program. And I received a postcard in the mail that said, we're seeking nurse educators. Now, I was a recent graduate with my master's. I had taught maybe 1 or 2 courses within my internship, but let's just say I was not an experienced educator. They hired me immediately. I was hired as a part-time adjunct instructor in the evening for maternity and pediatric nursing. Again, a lot of growing pains. I had a whole lot of students. You had to feel the students out. You have to set the culture of the classroom. So as a novice educator back then, we didn't have a formal orientation or onboarding system. Now we've come just like miles ahead of the game, and we have this huge onboarding system, and we have a leadership program, and we have mentorship, So it was baptism by fire. Until I began to understand the culture of the school and understand the importance of the students. The majority of our students come from Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Connecticut. And I would say the majority of our students are minority students, be it African Americans, be it Jamaican Americans, be it Hispanic. And these are the students that we give opportunities to do something with their lives, where many times they would apply to maybe a traditional type of nursing program and perhaps would not be as successful for whatever reason. They come to us and we try to look at the student in a holistic way and try to understand that everybody's trying to do better for themselves, for their family. And you have to give people an opportunity to shine, because if people are told for the entirety of their lives, you're not going to amount to anything, you're a minority, the world's not going to support you, then that's what's in their head. That's what they're speaking into the universe, right? So I feel that Jersey College has always put the student at the center of everything that we do. Any and every type of student. Do I have to maybe help you get through this chapter of the book because your fundamental reading skills may not be at a level of another student that would attend your traditional 4-year university? Maybe that's what we have to do. And we've done it. And we've had a lot of success. So I've learned to be very comfortable in that environment because we have a very diverse environment. And it is a very inclusive college, not only of our students, but of the faculty, of the staff. Everybody has something positive to offer. And my parents always raised us not to feel bad about our backgrounds, the color of our skin, our ethnicity. You know, I always remember my mother saying, you know, just because people will judge you, you need to step it up a bit. You always have to set the bar just a little bit higher for yourself. That's all she ever said to us. And she said, only because people will make assumptions based on what you look like and what you can bring to the table. So I've always been an overachiever, always, always, always. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I know I'm not perfect, but I'm very competitive in nature. And I think that that has really helped me excel. And in Jersey College, I came in as a part-time faculty member. Then I moved into a full-time faculty member. Then I was promoted to teach in the professional nursing program. Then I was promoted to associate dean. And here I sit today as campus director. So when my students see me, they see themselves in me. And those are huge shoes to fill. I feel that the shoes are huge and they're my own. So it's just, I've had an amazing journey, an amazing career. I don't have not one regret of deciding to go the nursing route and really see what it has to offer. So I'm very satisfied and fulfilled with the work I did at the bedside for those patients that were very sick, for the babies that were very sick. But now it's time for me to give back to ensure that those nurses that are going out there, that are going to be taking care of me, that they are well trained and their heart and their minds are in the right place.
Oh my gosh, Daisy. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because your journey and your passion and your determination to succeed and to help your students must be commended. And I say that because when it comes to education within the Black and Brown community, we have to help our students in the areas of basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. And you take the time at Jersey College to work with your students to improve in areas that they need to improve in. That means reading, writing, spelling. And I think that is something that should be commended, because you're investing into them as a person. You're investing in them as human beings. And listen, I am not a nurse, but I worked 12 years as a cardiovascular technician, and just learning anatomy, physiology, and learning the math for the algebra, for the doses of the medicine, along with the terms. I even had to take pharmacology. And believe it or not, that takes some time just to learn those words and those meanings. And I think that Jersey College is investing in our young people, in our community. And I think that most people who don't know where Jersey College is, can you tell them where Jersey College is?
Sure. So I'm just going to give a little background again. I had mentioned we were actually founded back in 2003 by Mr. Greg Karchevsky, and his parents owned a home care, like a nursing home care agency. And they identified that they struggled to find nurses to care for these pediatric home patients. So the thought process was, why don't we start a program where we could, you know, generate and develop more nurses so we could, you know, address the shortage that actually exists. So with that, you know, again, we had allied health programs such as certified nursing assistant, phlebotomy, medical assistant, and it was just all over the place. And we finally said around 2006, let's focus on one thing. So we developed a singular focus, which was nursing education. So with the practicum nursing program from 2006, probably to 2008, we expanded. We have 2 campuses in New Jersey. We have 6 campuses in Florida. We're still building.
Wow.
Campus in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we're looking to expand in areas such as Tennessee, Arkansas, all of this stuff happening, right? So we have had over 8,000 students graduate from all of our campuses, and we are currently located right on Route 46 across from the Teterboro Airport. So our college offers 2 programs of study. One is a practical nursing program in the day and the evening. The other is a bridge program, which means you must be licensed as an LPN, as a licensed practical nurse, in order to apply for that program, which will grant you the ability to achieve your registered nurse degree and your associates also. So we are busy. We have admissions every 3 months in both programs. We have right now close to 700 students at the Teterboro campus. And I just think that it is a great opportunity for people that maybe need a little direction, that maybe feel that they could not be a nurse. And the reality is, Jennifer, that not everybody can. Not everybody can do it. We do have requirements. There are minimum standards that you must meet in order to be a nurse. And a lot of people may have the drive, may have the passion, but they do not have the foundation that's strong enough that's going to support them throughout the program. So they need to come in with something, right? Something sustainable. And of course, while they're in the program, if they're struggling, this is where we go above and beyond. We assist, we mentor, we have an associate dean that becomes the sounding board for many students, where she could assist students academically, but also emotionally, socially. So many of our students, deal with evictions, domestic violence, divorces. So it's real life that's happening for them, and they're still trying to be successful at obtaining this license. So we understand the importance of it. That's why it's very serious. And with all of that baggage, the fact that they are so resilient and they are so motivated to want to be successful, it's just a beautiful thing.
Now, when it comes to at least having a foundation, what is the necessary requirements for the foundation that they need to have to register and be a student at Jersey College?
Right. So for the licensed practical nursing program, you must pass a reading and a math test. So you do have more than one opportunity to take the test, but you must pass the test with a passing score of 75%. Now, some people will take it and they bomb it and they're able to succeed on a second attempt. Other people have exceeded their attempts and they do not pass and they cannot apply again for another year. So, that entrance exam doesn't become the tell-all of the potential that the applicant may have, but it is a requirement. So, we have a whole lot of interest, a lot of student applicants on waiting list. So, we can't be like, well, we think this one's, good for the school, but they didn't meet the requirements. So those are the requirements for the practical nursing program when it comes from an academic perspective. Then there's the 18 and over, whatever. For the bridge program, you just have to have a valid licensed practical nursing license in order to apply. So you must be a licensed practical nurse already in order to apply for the bridge program that'll bridge you into a registered nurse.
And now, what is the bridge program?
The bridge program is a nursing program for registered nurses, right? So the licensed practical nurse is more of a vocational type of nurse, and they receive a certificate in becoming a licensed practical nurse. And when they successfully complete the program, they're eligible for licensure as a licensed practical nurse. So lots of licensed practical nurses have great careers. They work in clinics. Some have been grandfathered into acute care settings. They work in doctors' offices with plastic surgeons, the whole bit. But registered nurses have a bit more responsibility in that role. So the schooling is typically longer. The courses dive a lot deeper than in the practical nursing program. And it's not that the practical nursing program is easy, but you go into diseases and everything on a much more superficial level as opposed to the registered nurse. Also, the Bridge program has 9 general education courses that you must successfully complete in order to be enrolled into the actual nursing program.
Now, do you have full-time and part-time classes along with online classes?
We typically are just a full-time program in all programs of study. Sometimes the student may want to take one course, less, depending on their program of study. The practical nursing program is a clock hour program, meaning the Board of Nursing says every student that comes through our doors has to meet a certain amount of hours in order to be eligible to sit for licensure. The Bridge program for the registered nurse is a little bit different. It is a credit-based program. And for example, for the student that comes in, they're taking 5 courses that first semester. So sometimes the student will say, you know what, can I take 3 as opposed to 5? So we could work with their educational plan to do that. Right now, we are still in a hybrid environment, especially for general education courses, but we expect to be full back on campus with the Bridge program in August. The practical nursing program is already back on campus fully.
Now, my question to you is, what is the percentage between male and female nurses?
I want to say in our program, I would say maybe 20% of all our students are male. And we get more and more males every year because it's all about the ability to evolve in this career. So it's kind of like the buzz. It's like, go to Jersey College, get your license in a year. You could work, you could do overtime, you could do per diem here, you could work someplace else. So more and more males are transitioning into the role. So it's not all that uncommon. And sometimes you still have groups where you have 1 male or 2 males only. Then you have other cohorts where you have 5 and 6 males. But they definitely are becoming a regular, part of our demographic. It's not like it was 20 years ago. If you saw a male, it was like something was wrong with him. Why is he in a nursing program? So now it's just part of the norm.
Now, is there a difference between the salaries that a male nurse makes and a salary that the take-home salary between a female nurse? Is there a difference? Because I think I've heard that there's a difference, that the male nurses make a little bit more.
They typically do not. And it all depends on the position that they apply for. So if you have 2 registered nurses, a male and a female, and they go for the same type of position, there should not be a salary difference. Now, if we say to the male, we're going to put you in charge 4 nights a week, we're going to put you on the night shift, which includes a differential and all these other things tagged along, absolutely his salary is going to be more. If he accepts a position more on the managerial side as the male, his salary is going to be more rather. So there should not be that discrepancy, but we always speak about how there's sometimes, the salary between male and female isn't always equitable in all careers, right? We see that. And I think nursing is a career that is so heavily female dominated for years that sometimes women become very catty. And you know, as nurses, we haven't given nursing the professionalism that it deserves. And when employers see a male nurse, it's almost like a breath of fresh air, right? So they're like, a guy, no drama, no cattiness, no, you know, so they embrace that male because they feel he's going to come without baggage. Drama free, he's going to come, he's going to do his work and call it a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you have any recommendations for us?
As far as
any golden nuggets for those that may be listening that would like to become a nurse or an LPN or would like to register with your school and become a student of Jersey College? Any recommendations?
Sure. So I think a couple of things that are important for anybody to recognize is that it is not enough to just say, I have a passion for caring for people. That's a start. That's a start. But it's not enough. That doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful in any program. You need to have discipline. You need to study. You kind of, for those 12 or 13 months, you lose sight of everything that's going on in your life, and everything becomes focused in your textbooks, in your program, in your experiences in the college, and it is just a necessary sacrifice. And not everybody is willing to make those sacrifices. So you have to read a lot. You have to reread a lot. Anything you don't have to, that you don't understand, you have to look it up. So for some people, they could go through a chapter in 20 minutes. For other people, it may take them 2 hours to go through that same chapter because they're rereading, they're looking words up that they're not familiar with. And I would also say, don't be afraid to be aware of your weaknesses and your deficits. Because if you're not aware of that, I'm horrible at math. I've always been horrible at math. I struggled with it. And my first day in the nursing program, I said to the teacher, I'm going to need help with math. She said, we haven't even opened the textbook yet. I said, I know, but I'm being proactive. I know I'm going to need support. So students, instead of trying to struggle in silence, need to be proactive and ask for help from the moment that they do not understand what's going on, from the moment that they fail a quiz. Even if you have 10 quizzes in the term, you fail the first quiz, you need to ask for help because you need to identify where did you go wrong. So it is not a glamorous profession. It is not an easy profession. And there have been many times where I've thought it is a thankless profession. Rewarding, worthwhile, fulfilling, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, rewarding, worthwhile. Now, why do you say that nursing is a thankless profession?
I think it can be. You know, I feel that I have found my niche, so I no longer feel that way. But I know when I was working at the bedside, for several different reasons, I felt that maybe hospital administrators weren't very supportive. It was more like it was more like a rat race. And, you know, every institution is different. But at the end of the day, hospitals are businesses, right? So you are the one that is at the bedside and you are applying that human touch and you are going hours without eating, without drinking and not going to the bathroom, you know, but the hospital administrator is saying you must be this particular person, regardless of what your physiologic needs are, regardless of the fact that we've pulled you to 3 different units within one shift. You know, so many times there's that level of insensitivity that I may have felt occasionally in a hospital type environment. And I know I'm not alone in that. So I'm not saying that every, you know, hospital is like that, or every organization, but it can be. You know, so you work hard, you study hard, you want to feel happy in your job. You want to know that you're doing a good job, but you also need that support. You need to have somebody with their hands on your back that says, I know how hard this is, but you've got this. You're doing a great job. And hospital,
you don't always get that.
Yeah. Hospital,
I understand, because you don't always get that, especially at work. You usually don't get that, because it gets to that point where even like within hospital administration, corporate America, you signed up to be an employee. You understand? And sometimes I guess corporate America and big business, sometimes they forget that to reward their employees for doing a good job. And I think that is something that I think this pandemic has taught us as well. I think, and I say that because it's not just in nursing. I think that is just corporate America and big business in general. But in order to be a nurse, you have to have not only a heart for people, but you also have to have durability, because I understand that they have long shifts. So do you train your nurses and your students to get ready for those like 12-hour shifts, those 16-hour shifts where they're doing their 40 hours within 3 days? Because
right. What we do is, you know, the LPNs have full 8-hour days in class. So it's a long day to receive and digest a whole lot of information. But a lot of times if a student is saying, oh, you know, the bell went off, we're supposed to break, we haven't had a break, you know, we'll then give them a snippet of what it's like in the real world. That you may be a person that schedules yourself to eat at 12 noon, and unless you're a diabetic taking medication and you have to eat, chances are if you're on a busy unit, you know, you're not going to make it to lunch at 12 noon. And there will be several nights or days where you don't eat at all, where your first meal would be the meal you have once you arrive home and you're done. That is just, that's not a shocker. You know, that's not a shocker. It's almost part of the role, because you're that busy, you're that involved. You know, patients get sick. Things are never, you know, this is my assignment, it's neatly packaged, I'm going to do everything. No, it's never like that. You always have to prepare for the inevitable. And we have a simulation lab, which I love, and we create scenarios that really emulate real life situations as a nurse. And we're seeing how the students respond, not only to the patient, but how are they responding to everything that's going on in that entire environment?
Oh my goodness. No, my gosh. Daisy, thank you so very much. Now we have, I think, another 2 minutes. How can they get in contact with either you or with the school?
Okay.
With Jersey College?
I can put my name and my email in the chat. Am I able to type in the chat, Jennifer?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, it says private, but it'll come up for everyone.
No. Well, yes. Let's see. If you put it there, Daisy Molina. Just put the information and I'll type it into the comment section where you can just stream it live. And this is your information.
Right. And they could go to the website as well.
And just put any other information there. And I'll just add it to the stream. And this is the Teterboro Campus.
Yes.
Teterboro. Oh my gosh. Is there anything? I think that would be it for now. And Daisy, your career has been so extensive. Why do you think that you valued education so much?
I think I've always really enjoyed a challenge, and I almost feel like, I'm not intimidated by people that are smarter than I am. I try to learn from them, but I also want a piece of the pie. So it's almost like being in a room where, when I didn't have my master's, and you're surrounded by nurses, educators, everybody has their masters, and you can bring valuable information to the table with just a bachelor's. But me, myself, personally, I'm going to feel like, well, I need to get a master's too, because I want to be part of the conversation, even though I can be, but I'll feel much stronger, knowing that I have a higher degree. So I've always enjoyed academics. I complain about it. I have papers to do. I have assignments to do. I'm always complaining about it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's like I am masochistic. But I think in order to continue to evolve and to professionally and personally grow, it's a necessary evil. You have to keep up. You really have to keep up.
Now, do you have children?
No.
Oh, so you've just dedicated yourself to your career and to education. Awesome, awesome. Listen, let me applaud you. Honor and respect, lady. Honor and respect, Daisy, because this is something that I think our young people that would like to either pursue the nursing field as a career, this is a great place for them to start. Absolutely amazing. And the school is expanding. And I didn't realize that Jersey College was really it's not a small institution.
No.
Wow. Awesome. 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 Well, Daisy, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey with us. Honor and respect. I always say that.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for the information. And right now, is the school open to students right now? Are students attending
Yes.
in person or online?
They're mostly in person. There's very few courses that are still online. So mostly all the students are back on campus.
Okie dokie. All right then. Well, thanks again, and we'll connect again. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And connect with Daisy Molina at Jersey College, and you can connect at http://jerseycollege.edu. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. And don't go away. And we'll chat again. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.